Welcome to my all-in pay-per-view review. That's hard to say. I didn't say anything about doing the pay-per-view because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to do it. With all the things that I've been doing lately, going to my doctors and actually learning how to animate, it's been a lot. Along with doing my wrestling reviews, it has been a lot on my plate. A lot more than I expected my nerves to actually handle. So when I checked again and I saw it was this Saturday, I thought, you know what? Don't do your animation much. Just watch the show. But then the show was coming on around 6, and then I had time, so I started working on my animation and I forgot about it. So I'm not going to lie, I didn't see it when it started at 6, and I missed about 10 or 12 minutes when it hit 7 o'clock. So I missed the first match. What is it? No, not 10 or 12 minutes, like 20 minutes of it. So I missed the first match, but I did see most of the Christopher Daniels, Stephen Amol match. And I'm surprised Stephen Amol, who's the head of Arrow, the show Arrow, he's wrestling now. I didn't really keep up with him. And to be honest, I haven't seen Arrow since 2011. When they first 3 episodes, I believe I watched it. And I forgot all about it because I was doing other stuff. I have not seen Arrow and I probably should watch it. But taking away from that, was the match good? No. I don't know what happened with the match beforehand. But I can tell you with this match, it was botchy. And it was mostly Steven's fault. And I'm not saying that Christopher Daniels is doing a great job. He tried to compensate for him. And I'm not saying Christopher was a great wrestler. I mean, he's good. But when a guy who's not that good and you're not great yourself, there's a lot of botchiness that went on in this match. But the crowd did still seem to be into it. And seeing Jerry Lynn there was, man, I haven't seen Jerry Lynn in like 6 years. So it was nice to see him along with Christopher. I wish Christopher Daniels would go back to Impact Wrestling for a little while. I would like to see Bad Influence. If anybody knows who Bad Influence was with Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, they go back to that old thing. I would love it. But anyway, it was Christopher Daniels who won. And I'll say this. If Steven is now doing both wrestling and acting, I'm not saying he should give up wrestling. But I do believe that from what I've seen, and I don't watch ROH, I believe he's on ROH, and he's wrestling there, I do believe he needs a little more work as a singles competitor. Or at least work a little bit more on his craft, because he really looked very choppy. At least to me. Now, the next one was a fatal 4-way. They called it, what? A 4-corner survival match. With Madison, Rayne. Now, what was her name? I can't remember Laura Vanessa's new name. Chastity Green or Chelsea Green. And you got Tessa Blanchard. And you also have, what is it? Britt Baker. Now, the person who looked the best there was Britt Baker. I don't know. She kind of looks familiar to me. I'm not saying she went through Reality of Wrestling. But she does seem to be familiar to me. Because next to seeing WWE, Impact Wrestling, and Reality of Wrestling, I recognize most of the wrestlers that have been wandering around most of the different promotions. I think I remember seeing her once, but I'm not sure. But damn it all, she's good. And Laura Vanessa still kind of doing the crazy woman thing. I kind of wish she wasn't doing that. Not saying she hasn't perfected it and gotten better, but knowing how she used to be in Impact Wrestling, I kind of would like to see a little bit less than that. But she did play into her character and she did a good job. Madison Rayne's Madison Rayne. Now, when it came to Tessa, now you guys are going to think I'm going to bash the shit out of her. I'm not. She did a good job. But I am going to be honest here. And honesty must be done. Tessa took way too many chances. She was too... What would be the right word to use what Tessa had been doing? Reckless would be the best way. She wanted to show how dominant she was. I do not have a picture of it. I have kind of the aftermath, I believe, of that picture. Where instead of going through the second ring rope, she decided to jump over the top ring rope onto the women. That was incredibly bad for the simple reason that when she jumped over it, part of her leg got caught onto it and she spun around and she nailed those women along with herself really hard. I would tell Tessa, look, you got ability. I'm not taking nothing from you. You got a nice butt. I'm not taking nothing from you. You're kind of cute. I'm not taking nothing from you. But don't be that damn stupid to actually think at your height, you can jump over the top ring rope onto the women properly. It's hard even for men to do the top ring rope if they're not tall. And you're not a tall woman, and you could have nailed those women and hurt yourself really badly. In the end, Tessa's the one who won. Do I believe it's the wisest thing to do? I think it's alright. Being that she is getting a lot of traction in Impact Wrestling, and that she's a champ right now, is the wisest thing to do. She had to win that. And I want to say this to one of my subscribers. I believe he thought that I didn't think that Gail Kim... You know who you are, George. If you saw my comment, I never said that Gail Kim wasn't better than Madison Rayne. I'm just talking about when somebody is willing to do the job for somebody else. And when it came to Gail Kim for the last 5 to 6 years, she has not done that. Yeah, she helped Terrence Terrell. But when it came to everyone else, she half-assed it. And it's not just because they wrote it like that. She had to make the request not to give up jobbing for everybody properly. At least not until the end when she finally decided to help Allie. Because she did not help Laura Vanessa. She definitely did not help Sienna. She did not help, who was it? Oh, I can't believe I forgot her name. I'm going to leave it because I can't remember. This is going to be a long video and I don't want to spend the next 2 minutes trying to remember who else she did not job to that she should had. But you get my point. I just felt like Madison Rayne jobs better. And is at least credible enough to do it. Now, the next match, which I was actually surprised came, I think it's 5th or 4th. Well, 5th or 6th. I'm not sure what happened in 6 o'clock if they had extra matches there. But this one was the 4th one. And it was Cody Rhodes versus Magnus. Nick Magnazel or Nick Aldis. Aldis. Sorry, Aldis. I kind of like that if he kept his name Nick Magnazel. That sounds better. But anyway, this match I was actually quite surprised was this low on the card. Now, I don't know how many matches were beforehand from 6 to 7. So it could have been already the 9th or 10th match of the show. Who knows? But this one was kind of a surprise. I think it could have been higher up on the card. Because of what it really meant. It was an extremely strong story. I think it was the biggest and strongest story of the entire show. That Cody, now going Cody is not Cody Rhodes, wanted to get the title his father held. And that really was important. Now, when it came to the match, like most of what I've been showing, I'm sure it's been scrolling here, the match wasn't incredibly great. But it wasn't bad either. But there was a hiccup. When it came to the point where Cody jumps off the top ring rope and Nick nails him supposedly in the face and Cody couldn't continue anymore and it was the ref going like this. Oh, sorry, like this. You saw DDP come to the ring. Diamond Dallas Page was there. Jeff Jarrett was there. A couple other people were there. And that was actually quite nice. But once Diamond Dallas Page came to check up on Cody, and when, I can't remember whoever that other guy was, he seemed to be familiar, I don't remember him, but he grabbed Diamond Dallas Page and shoved him back, and Diamond Dallas Page got pissed off, they got into the ring, and then Diamond basically did the cutter on his ass. It was a nice thing to see. I haven't seen a cutter from Diamond Dallas Page in years. Now, that's just for me. I haven't seen him in years. I'm sure everyone else might have seen him because maybe he might still be wrestling or he does special appearance where he does the cutter. I just haven't seen him in maybe 8 years. In a long time, I haven't seen him actually do a cutter. So it was actually quite nice. But then the problem, I think, it kind of went sort of downhill, but it was okay, was that Cody took a long time to bleed. Because he wasn't bloody when he hit the ground. But when he went under the desk and he had to cut himself to get it done, it just felt like it took too long. It took way too long. He should have been able to cut himself earlier. Just after Diamond Dallas Page gave that sucker a cutter. But then once they got into the ring and they went with it, it was alright. When Cody was basically nailed so badly he couldn't continue and Nick was going to do an elbow, what happens? You got Brandy, who had been there most of that entire match. Well, actually been there all the match. She pretty much decided she would do anything for her man. She literally got into the ring, begged Nick not to do it, but Nick didn't care. So she decided to climb on top of Cody, and Nick pretty much elbowed her ass in the back. Now that I have not seen in a while. I haven't seen a woman get an elbow like that in a while, which was nice. It did help the story. And it did make the crowd hate Nick even more, which is good. Nick was supposed to be the heel and Cody was supposed to be the face. And in the end, Cody did a, well, not a roll-up, but a schoolgirl. And he pretty much won the match. Now, the only thing that could have made it better is that Cody kind of played a little bit more about being exhausted. Because he barely acted exhausted. And then he jumped around like crazy. And I felt like that was something that his dad would have waited a little bit on. At least an extra minute or two. And then he would get up. And then he would have gone and jumped all over the place. I think that would have been better. That I felt would have been better for him. But in the end, it was still a great story. And people ate it up. The crowd was going crazy, screaming all in. And they did that throughout most of the show. Now, you had the next match, which, damn it all, I felt was the second best match of the night. And that was, what was it? Hangman versus, what was the guy's name? Hangman Page versus Joey Garnell. What is his name? Janela. If I'm pronouncing the guy's name wrong, I'm sorry. I've never seen him before. Since I don't watch RH, I don't know the majority of those people there. But I will say that, what was the girl's name? What was it? Ford. I can't remember her first name. Damn, that woman. Oh my gosh. She would give Lana a run for her money, how beautiful she is. Damn, that woman was gorgeous. But she also helped in the match. I'll get to that in a minute. When it came to the street fight, and it was a street fight, at first it felt slow. I'm not going to lie, it felt slow. But maybe about a third of the way in, that's when it started to pick up, and it started picking up more, and started picking up more. And then it was, what was her name? Damn it. I can't remember her name. I want to remember her name, but when she got involved in that match, and that woman was freaking physical. She didn't give a damn. She started punching the guy in the face and elbowing the guy in the face. A couple of them went through some tables. They went through a couple of tables, jumping off from ladders. It was Hangman. I think Hangman Adams. What was it? That was his name? Hangman Adams Page. Basically did one hell of a, I think it was a Samoan drop onto one of the ladders. It was ugly. It bent that ladder. It was a solid aluminum ladder and it hit. You could see it mostly bow. That sucker looked nasty. In the end, it was Adams who won. The Hangman. But this is the thing that gets really, I just went, what the freaking fuck? Now, they showed a small video package before the match talking about Hangman actually killing Joey Ryan. So, I was going, okay, this is interesting. They're showing that Adams is freaking out because of his boots. And they did use the boots in one part of that match to freak him out. But then, oh my God, I hope I got pictures of this. You got guys coming out in inflatable, clear, see-through dicks to the ring. No, to the ramp. They played, they played music like The Undertaker would play. Then, you got them coming out in blow-up see-through dicks. Then you got Joey Ryan coming out on his own. Then Joey Ryan goes through his regular routine and he basically nails Hangman. And oh my gosh, once he was nailed, he pushed him to those guys in the dick suits and they carried him away. I hope I got that thing. It's in my face. It's in my face. That's it. I'm taking it away. That was freaking ridiculous. I haven't seen anything that stupid in years. Damn, that was stupid. I just laughed my ass off for a good few minutes before the next match. I was just laughing, going, what the fuck did I just see? What the fuck did I just see? Is this from ROH? Is this from PWG? I know this can't be from New Japan Pro Wrestling. They wouldn't do something like this. And it wouldn't be for Impact Wrestling because we haven't seen it yet. So it gotta be from one of those two. And that made me laugh my fucking ass off. Now, let's go to the next match, which was Flip Gordon versus Macho Randy Lethal. Oh yeah, dig it. I love my Slim Jims and I love to give this to Jay Lethal so he can also love a Slim Jim and do my job. Dig it. I hope that sounded right. Leaping Lanny Papa was there. That was freaking awesome. I haven't seen the Genius in years. In years. I always loved the Genius. I don't care. I said this a long time ago when it came to Damian Sandow, that he was doing the Genius's stick. Or at least he should have did the Genius's stick. He felt like it. And he should have had the Genius by his side. That would have helped him so much. I think he would have got over even more if the Genius had worked with him. But anyway, the Genius was working with Jay Lethal. And for some reason, because it's going on in OH, every time when Jay Lethal got hit on the shoulder, he switched from Jay Lethal to Macho Randy Lethal. Oh yeah, dig it. If he wasn't in my face, I'm going to put him in my face. In the beginning of that match. Oh, and let's just say this. When it came to Flip Gordon. No, not Flip Gordon. Flip Gordon. Seeing Brandy Rhodes there was okay, but then it makes me think, are they doing the same thing they did in Impact Wrestling, where when Cody had a problem and she had to have someone by her side, it was like a moose? I don't think that was a good thing. But mind you, my damn goodness, that woman is beyond beautiful. I'm going to say this, if Cody ever saw this, I know he won't, but Mr. Rhodes, 1, I respect you. 2, if you ever cheat on that woman, I will find you. I won't just beat the living shit out of you. I will freaking castrate you and feed your balls to a cat. Just know a pussy ate you. That's the damn truth. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I said that. That sounded so bad. Sorry. But was the match good? It was good. Jay Lethal basically acted like Macho Man Randy Savage throughout some parts of the match. And I really appreciated that. I enjoyed it. But then there was the problem of Flip Gordon actually trying to act like the Ultimate Warrior a little bit. And that ruined it for me. Not saying that Jay Lethal's work was bad. It didn't ruin it for me. But him doing that did. It just did. I didn't like his performance as the Ultimate Warrior for the simple reason that short little thing he did, he didn't continue it. No, it wasn't the Ultimate Warrior. I'm sorry. A lot of people thought it was the Ultimate Warrior. It was Hulk Hogan. That's what I'm sorry. I'm sorry I mixed that up. It was Hulk Hogan. But it kind of upset me anyway because he didn't continue it. And he shouldn't have did it. He shouldn't have hulked up. If Jay Lethal has a stick, you don't copy and use somebody else, and you don't even do it very much in the match. He still acted like a high flyer. When it came down to it and seeing Jay Lethal winning, I don't know the story behind him in ROH. So I don't know if this was the wisest thing to see him actually win the title. Well, not win it, keep the title. So I can't say this is the right thing or not because I don't watch the product. But just going by his character standpoint, it is good to see him working with Leaping Lanny Popo and seeing that he is incorporating a lot of Macho Man's work. So in that respect, I am glad he won, But I can't say it was the wisest thing, yes or no, because I don't know the story behind it. Now, here is the best match of the night. Hands down, it was the best match of the night. You got Kenny Omega versus Pentagon Jr. Pentagon Jr., who had the best match I've seen in a while when it came to the mask versus hair match against Sami Callihan. He repeated that type of intensity in this match. At first it was slow. Not gonna lie, it was slow at first. Him saying zero fear wasn't too bad. I enjoyed it. And Kenny Omega didn't play it until he just smacked his hand away and smacked him in the face. And throughout that match, it was damn good. Yes. And I'm not gonna lie, I am not a high flyer fan. I'm not. I like it when you do psychology. I like it when you do grapple wrestling. And I like it when you do high flying. I like a balanced match. Or at least you got one wrestler who's a grappler, who faces a high flyer and has to figure a way to win using his own technique. He doesn't become a high flyer with him. He becomes nothing but what he is. He is a grapple wrestler going up against a high flyer trying to figure a way, how the hell am I going to keep this guy down? Both these guys were high flyers. There's no doubting it. They did put a little bit of grapple in. There's no lie about it. But let's be honest. Even with it, it was a damn good match. It was. Yes, they didn't sell a lot of their super moves. They didn't. There was one point where, I can't even remember it exactly, where it looked like Kenny Omega was going to do an electric chair. What is it? Broken Wing or his Black Wing or something. Can't remember it. I don't watch Kenny Omega, so I can't say I know the move. But he was trying to do it more than once. And Pentagon Jr. managed to get out of it about 4 or 5 times. And he did finally lose to it. But the thing was that when he came close to doing it and having to adjust it, the problem was that Pentagon Jr. didn't sell enough. And then Kenny Omega didn't sell enough. And they went from one move to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, to another. Mind you, the moves kept growing and growing and growing. But for me personally, if you do that too much, it becomes repetitive. Now, mind you, understand, this is a Japanese style match. And I want to make it very clear, I understand what it is. That's why I can say it's the best match of the night. Because I have seen Japanese style wrestling before. And that was a Japanese style wrestling match. A damn good match. Exceptionally good. But if I'm going from someone who sees it for all of it, the problem is that if you do it too much, it becomes lost in translation when you go to another crowd. The crowd there, they know about this stuff. But anyone else, they may like it, but they wouldn't want to see it too often. For me personally, I don't mind seeing it more than a few times because I understand what it is. This is Japanese pro wrestling in your face. When they say strong style, they weren't kidding. These guys literally try to kick each other's heads off. And I accepted that. I understood it. But in the end, for me personally, trying to see as all around, not everyone's going to like that match. They'll say it's a cool match, but not everyone's going to like it unless you're a mark for ROH and you're a mark for New Japan Pro Wrestling. For someone who's an average fan, they'll like it. But I don't think they will watch it more than once. Now, oh, and Kenny Omega did win. And then the most best thing to happen was Chris Jericho coming out and basically nailing his ass when the lights went out. Well, let me back up. Basically, the lights went out after the match was over. We didn't know what was going on. We saw Pentagon Jr. get up and beat the crap out of Kenny Omega. Then I realized when it was the first hitting, he wasn't exhausted. That was somebody else. Then once he did the code breaker, I knew it was Chris. And he pretty much said, "I'll see you on the Jericho Cruise." I think that was the name of his cruise. I can't remember it. But that's good marketing for the cruise that Chris Jericho is pulling off in October. And I hope it works. I'm so hoping they stream it because I would love to see the Jericho Cruise. I want to see them stream it. I hope they can stream it from the ocean. If not, we'll have to wait until they come to a port and they can upload it to whatever site or whatever they're going to do. Hopefully they can stream it. Now, the next match that had to follow that was destined not to be as good. I'm sorry. And I'm not saying it wasn't a great match. It was a good match. It was a damn good grapple match. I could have said that if this Kenny Omega and Pentagon Jr. hadn't done anything, they weren't there, this would be the best match of the night. But I can't say that. I just can't. And that's Mighty Scourge versus Okada. Now, I've never seen Okada's work. I'm not going to lie. I've never seen Okada's work. And I've heard it being really good. So this was the first time I actually got a chance to see him. Now, big guy. Able to move around pretty damn well for a heavyweight of 240, 250, I think. It was a good match. And there was a story behind it that Marty Scourge, the villain, really wants to go into the heavyweight division where he's like a middleweight or junior heavyweight. Yeah, he's going to go for the contest, and the people think he's going to win the New Japan Pro Wrestling Junior Heavyweight Tournament, and then he's going to try and forego the title if he wins it, and then go to the heavyweight division. I can understand a lot of people believing he could do it because he's a damn good wrestler. And Okada being a wrestler of all time, this is the first time I'm actually seeing Okada. Now, I'm not saying he did a bad job. He did a very good job. I enjoyed his work. But I don't know if I can truly say that he's an exceptional wrestler. Compared to Pentagon Jr. or compared to Kenny Omega, I can't say he is. Now, that does not mean he isn't a great wrestler. An exceptional one, for me personally, I would need to watch him more to really say yes. Because if you've seen any of the things that have been scrolling by my shoulder, you'll see that that match was pretty damn good. It wasn't a lot of high flying in it. It was all grapple or really high impact. And I enjoyed the hell out of that match. But I have to say what it was. This match followed the Kenny Omega and Pentagon Jr. match. And there was no way it was going to beat it. It just wasn't going to beat it. If it had gone first, I could have said, for me personally, that was the best match of the night. And then I would have to try and come up with a way to figure out, really, is it not as good as Kenny Omega versus Pentagon Jr.? And that would be a hard one for me, but I can't. The crowd really sold it for me. It did for the Pentagon Jr. and Kenny Omega. Here, both the guys, Okada and Scourge, if I'm pronouncing his name, Scourge, whatever, they were cheering their asses off for them. And the thing that I did appreciate, I appreciated a lot. The crowd acted like a Japanese crowd. At certain points, they stay quiet to show respect. That's also what they did with the Kenny Omega match and Pentagon Jr. at certain points. But it was still an American crowd. They were going crazy for that. But this one, it was more respectful, like having a Japanese feel. It was really good. In the end, it was Okada who won. Was it Okada? Yes, it was Okada who won. And I can say Scourge really could show that he can go from the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion to try and become a heavyweight. I can understand what people were talking about because he looked pretty good. And Okada, I can't say that he deserved the moniker of being one of the best New Japan Pro Wrestling champions of all time, heavyweight champion, because I haven't seen him. But I will say that he's a damn good wrestler. There's no way lying about that. No. Now, final match of the night. The Young Bucks with, what is his name? I forgot the guy's name. I've seen him. He was on Impact at one point. Not Ishimori. Ibushi. That's his name. And he went up against Rey Mysterio. He went up against, what is the guy's name? Bandano, if I'm pronouncing his name. And Phoenix. And that was a surprise to see Rey coming out as a Wolverine. That was kind of cool. And I haven't seen Rey wrestle in a while. So this was a treat for me. But I'm not going to say this was an incredibly great match. There was a lot of botchiness. And it was Phoenix who was showing some botchiness. I was actually quite surprised. I thought Phoenix was not going to botch much here. But there were points in the match that Phoenix truly botched pretty badly. It just looked ugly. When he was going to try and do the springboard off the top top thing, I really don't want to say that he messed up trying to do his springboard flip off the top turn rope. He messed up at least twice or 3 times. He just looked really bad. There were certain points in the match he didn't look bad. He tried to make up for it later, and he did to a certain extent, but it didn't look so good. But in the end, the match was going pretty well. Ray did very well. Ray just looks much more thinner and leaner and more in shape. The last time I saw Ray, he had a freaking gut. He had a damn gut. He doesn't look like he got a gut anymore. But he was wearing a skin-tight suit like Wolverine. So it's kind of hard to tell. But from what I could tell before, the shots I saw beforehand, like when he was on Reality Wrestling over a year or so ago, when I saw him, he looked pretty jacked. He looked like he got in good shape. In the end, the Young Bucks won with Ibushi. So what would I take away from this all-in pay-per-view that was sponsored by the Young Bucks and Cody himself? I'll say this. Will it actually compete with the WWE? I don't know. It might. They could get a much more bigger venue and have more than 10,400 people. I can understand why people went crazy about this show because there were a lot of great matches and they were really damn good. So I will say this. I think All In will help Impact Wrestling is not going to do much for. ROH, it will help them a lot. The one I think is going to get the most help, and I think deserves the most help, is the National Wrestling Alliance. If this was a National Wrestling Alliance show, this would really give it a lot of credibility. They needed it. Billy Corgan really need a lot of publicity. And even though Nick Aldis, who once was the champion, is not now, really did give them a little bit more than what they were having, they really needed something to really give them something more. And I think they could have made this the NWA All-In pay-per-view. But they are having the 70th anniversary. I believe they're going to have a 70th anniversary in the next couple of months. Or next month. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can watch that. And maybe that will give them even more traction. I will say this was a good pay-per-view. It was. It wasn't a bad pay-per-view. It was pretty good. For $40, it was way cheaper than WWE. So I would recommend you watch it. The Christopher Daniels and Stephen Amol, you can skip it. The women's Fatal 4-Way, you could watch it. What was it? Hangman versus Giovanni. I think that's his name. Joey Giovanni. You definitely need to watch that. That was the best match. Particularly when Joey Ryan came out. And it was so freaking awesome with those dicks. Oh my god. When it came to Pentagon Jr. and Kenny Omega, it was the best match of the night. And the rest of the show was pretty damn good. You wouldn't be totally disappointed. You could watch it once. But I wouldn't recommend it seeing more than once. It's really not that important. In the grand scheme of things, it does show something special for independents. But you could take it for what it is. I did enjoy it. And I'll probably look at inserts of the Kenny Omega and Pentagon Jr. and Giovanni and Hangman match again. Because those matches were awesome. And that comes from a guy who doesn't like high flying. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.